In this video, we're going to show you how to install a fuel filler neck on your Jeep Grand Cherokee located behind the driver's side rear wheel. Once you have your hood open, you will go ahead and locate the fuse box right here on the passenger side. We're going to open this up. Now what we're going to do is look for the fuel pump fuse. And on this particular vehicle, it is a number 10 amp fuse. Right here, you can actually identify it by reading the inside here and locating it. So we're going to use our needle nose pliers. Going to reach in there and grab that 10 amp fuse, gently pull that up and set it aside. Now that we have our fuse out, you want to hop into the vehicle. You want to go ahead and start that vehicle, let it run, and then it's going to stall out because the fuel pump has now been disengaged here through the fuse. At that point there, the engine should just stall out. Try start it again. You want to do that a couple times to make sure that there's no more fuel in the lines pressurizing the engine itself. Once that's done and the vehicle will no longer run, come back underneath the hood here. Take the fuse, go ahead and reinstall this here, push it down, make sure it's fully seated, close the cover. To access your battery, you want to go and open up the back passenger door, slide the passenger front seat forward and access this panel right here. Put your hands underneath this little flap and lift up. On the front side of this panel is going to be two more clips further up, so slide your hand up underneath and pop those up. Go ahead and remove that panel and set it aside. We're going to use a 10mm socket to loosen the ground terminal here. Go ahead and wiggle that terminal free. Using a 22mm socket, loosen and remove your lug nuts. Grab that wheel, remove it, and set it aside. On the inner fender liner, we're going to use our trim tool. We're going to start by removing the plastic retainers on the inner fender liner. There's going to be a few of these positioned around. On the upper rear section here, there's a 10mm bolt. Loosen and remove that. Down below here, there's an 8mm. On the back section here, we have two plastic retainers. When we pop these out, you will have to source a couple replacements. We're going to use our punch. You need to pop out the center section. It will allow you to go ahead and pull that out. Work the liner down. Now when you're replacing that filler neck assembly there, you don't have to completely separate the inner liner from the vehicle. There's enough access here to go ahead and do the job. However, for ease for us to do this here, there is only one more bolt and one more plastic retainer. We're going to go ahead and do this I'm going to go ahead and remove these here. It's just going to get the liner completely out of the way for us. Now here we are underneath the vehicle. Now our fuel filler nut comes down and adapts to our fuel tank via this rubber tube. Now we're going to be separating this here, and this is at the bottom of the fuel tank itself. So if you have a bunch of gas inside the vehicle, you have to start by siphoning out the fuel itself. We already did that, so let's go ahead and start to remove this component. Using a flathead screwdriver, loosen the hose clamp from the filler tube on the hose itself. I want to go ahead and separate the hose from the filler tube, the metal portion itself. You can do that using a pick in most cases. Let's go ahead and work on that. Now we can use a 90-degree pick here, and what we're going to do is just go between the hose, the rubber hose and the metal hose, and work your way around the perimeter, just kind of breaking the seal free. The other thing you want to do is have a catch can underneath the vehicle to catch any residual gas that might drip out here. Hand protection as well as eye protection, strongly recommended when working with this here. What we'll probably do is loosen this other hose clamp on this side here. We'll just try and remove this whole section. Now that we have that hose off, we have the quick connect connector right here. You simply want to push in on this little tab here and separate the two lines. Sometimes you can use a pair of pliers on this here to assist you, because sometimes debris gets in here. On the back right here, we want to go ahead and remove this rubber hose. You're just going to simply grab that and gently twist that off. Now right here, there's a quick disconnect. So there's a tab on the back side. You can see when I'm pressing on this here, it actually unlocks the clip. So you want to press on that and pull this off. And if you follow along here, there is a plastic vent tube. We want to separate that from the metal line U-clip here. So just going to pop that up and off. As you follow this down, there is a quick connect right here as well. Now right over here, I'm going to get this hose tucked off. There's a 10mm nut. And right up on top, there is a bracket with two more 10mm nuts. You want to make sure that you work in a well-ventilated area when you're performing a job like this here. Anytime you're exposed to the fuel vapors. All right, remove that and set that aside. Let's go ahead and open up our gas cap here on the body side. There's a rubber grommet right here around the perimeter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the wheel well. I'm going to grab that tube here and pull that through that rubber grommet. And just simply remove it from the vehicle. We want to go ahead and take our filler neck. We want to start by getting our lines kind of lined up here a little bit. And we want to feed our filler neck back up into the body through that rubber grommet. And on the inside here, we want to go ahead and position the lines and get our brackets lined up next. Once we get the 3 brackets lined up, we can install the 3 nuts inside the wheel well. We'll go ahead and get the nuts started here. And then I'll get the 3rd nut started on the other side over here. I'm gonna go ahead and snug these down. Once you have those nuts bottomed out, just give them a little bit more. You just want to snug those down into place. They don't have to be super tight, but you want to make sure that they're not going to back off. So that nut has bottomed out. Probably a good 1/4 turn, good safe bet right there. Bottomed out, 1/4 turn. Now that we have those secured, we can start to reconnect our lines. Go ahead and get that to clip on. You can feel it snap into place. Install the retainer here on top of the canister here. Let's go ahead and reconnect. All you have to do is line that up and push it down. You'll hear it and feel it snap into place. Connect the hose. Make sure that's fully seated. Go ahead and connect that fuel line. Line that up and push that in. You're gonna feel it in, hear it snap into place. We have our hose here. You'll be able to identify the fuel tank side having this little notch in it that lines up with the tab on the side of the filler tube there. Go ahead and work that hose into place. At this point here, we can secure our hose clamps. Make sure you have those positioned in a easy spot for you to go ahead and tighten them down. You want to make sure that these are good and snug. You don't want to over tighten it and strip the clamp, but make sure that they are tight. Grab a hold of that hose, try twisting it, and we are secure. You want to go ahead and position your liner back up and in. Now, once this is in its general location, we can go ahead and start installing our plastic push pins. And go ahead and install a couple of our plastic retainers. This will secure the liner in place while we go ahead and install the remainder of those. Go ahead and snug that down gently. In the lower portion, we're going to place a 8mm screw. Snug that down. Get that 10mm screw up top. Good, snug that in. Now we're able to source replacement retainers here. Grab your wheel, line that up. Let's go ahead and install our lug nuts. Now that we have all of the lug nuts started by hand, we can go ahead and snug those down. Get and torque down your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds. Reconnect the ground terminal, slide that down into place. And let's go ahead and tighten down the terminal nut here. Make sure that's good and snug. Give that terminal a little wiggle, make sure that is locked on pretty good. So now go ahead and install the lid. Now on the bottom of the lid here, you're gonna have 4 of these little tabs here. I wanna go ahead and line those up. Once we get our 2 front ones lined up, it'll make it easy for the front ones to line up as well. Snap those down. You want to hop into the vehicle and put it back in park. At this point here, we want to go ahead and prime the fuel system. We're going to hit that start button without touching the brake. We want to prime the fuel system, meaning get fuel from the fuel pump up to the engine. So we're going to press that button. We're going to press it twice. Press it once to shut it down, and then again twice. Prime it. Let's go ahead and apply the brake, and we're going to start the vehicle. Once it starts, we're going to go ahead and check for any fuel leaks. At this point, we don't see any fuel leaks. Go ahead and shut this down. And at this point here, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.